Yeah, well, if you think about it, you couldn't. They would almost have to redo the entire token system if that's the way they're taking it out. Because right now, I mean, yeah, the Vanquisher, it has 4 people on the token, but the Vanquisher also has a higher drop rate, I believe, in a lot of places than the other ones. Now you have 2 tokens on which some people could argue. I mean, what is it? Is it Priest, Paladin, Warlock on the left?
Priest, Paladin, Warlock is the remaining token that only has 3 classes to it. Yes.
Okay. So I mean, but you think I don't know. I don't see an issue with it. Like I can't see them bringing in a 4th token because that's just way too much crap to keep track of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just gonna be a whole nother thing to have to worry about.
Yeah.
It's interesting the way they decided to keep the tokens along. I know a few people have been talking about them thinking about bringing another system to bring loot into the game,
right.
But I feel like that the token system is probably the best way to go as far as keeping track of what is what, because now instead of worrying about a certain piece of gear, you know that if I get that token, I can buy whatever piece of gear that I need for my main spec.
Exactly. And I think it's just kind of a little guess, but if you see that when we first had the tokens, they were 3, 3, and 3, and then Wrath of the Lich King came out and they introduced a new class and put it on a different token. Mr. Pandaria comes out and they introduced a new class and put it on a different token. Could that possibly mean that coming around the next expansion we might be looking at another class?
We very well could be. Maybe it might skip another. Might skip an expansion like it did in Cataclysm, where they brought in a new race instead of a new class.
Could do that.
So I mean, we'll see, because you see in BC they brought in a new race. They brought in 2 new races. You had Blood Elves and Journey.
That's good. Yeah.
And Mist of Pandaria they brought out a new class. And now Cataclysm, a new race. We had Worgen and Goblins, and now we have not only a new class but also a new race.
And they've also done that mutual way of the race that you don't actually pick your faction. You play along in the story, and I imagine I actually haven't done much of the monk starting zone at all. I actually like to do that before the game comes out. I want to look at it, but I don't want to go completely through it because I want to experience it for myself when I get there. But that maybe that's the direction Blizzard's heading, is they want you to be more involved in the story. And maybe that's their way of doing it. If they have to say, hey, you're going to play this class for, X number of time, and then you get to pick your race, or you get to pick your faction. Like, what do you want to play as? And it's an interesting way to go. I like it. It's like they put more power in your hands than how that's how you want to play.
I really like the way that they're going about it now. With the monks being able to, play your character through a few levels and then decide, okay, what do I want to make you? Do I want to make you Horde? Do I want to make you Alliance? And then you do the quest to choose a faction, and then you're that faction for the remainder of your character.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than again, we were talking about this last time. The Death Knights, you chose a Death Knight and you chose Horde, or you chose Death Knight and you chose Alliance.
Right.
And that's what you were. This little just kind of pre-questing getting you ready for what you're about to go through in the actual game, saying, hey, now I have the choice, I have the power. It becomes more of a character decision than it does like, okay, I'm creating a character, what do I want to make it?
Right. It's definitely, I mean, they're definitely going a lot of different directions with this expansion, and I can say I like every one of them. I haven't done much in the beta or the public test realm. I've done a good bit, but it's also, I want to experience it. But from what I've seen so far, I have enough confidence that, it's like, hey, I strongly believe that this is going to be good. I'm going to let them do their thing, and I'm not going to ruin the entire experience for me when I actually do get to play it. On a completely different side note, this guy is really, these kind of monsters are really annoying. I enjoy they're cool, but the carbonation, just everything they do, like, it's just, I hate their spells, they're terrible.
Yeah, they're really weird. It looks like they're drawing out of pools of mud, maybe. I don't know exactly what it is he's throwing on the ground to make these things sprout of.
Carbonation, it's, they're like carbonation, they're like nailed metal, you see that? It's like,
I see. Yeah, you threw, yeah, okay. That's interesting. So, I mean, your worst fears and nightmares have come to life, apparently, right on your screen.
Oh, bubbles.
Lots of bubbles.
Get in the bubble and swim. See, like, these are kind of cool. Like just, you know,
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely a lot more interesting than the last few quests.
and they're just, you know, they're just little dungeon quests. You know, they're not anything super fancy. You know, it's not like it's a raid and you got to get, you know, 25 people up in bubbles. It's just a little 5-man. You know, this is one of the first dungeons you do when you come into the expansion. Just like kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. I wonder what they're gonna do next.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they made it a lot more interesting. I don't know, just to play through. Cataclysm, it was nice, but it really wasn't special. Never really felt that connection from the game that I did in Cataclysm. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, this is really neat, it's different.
Right.
It's not the best, but it's neat.
Yeah, I really like the way they redid. Oh, forgot to get a bubble. I really like the way they redid the questing system in Cataclysm. You know, they redid the way that you know, they were going to do all the quests and actually level the character from level 1 just to go back through and witness all the new changes, because they changed the entire normal continent. You know, the WoW that we've always played and the WoW that, you know, we've grown to come used to. They completely changed it on us. So that was the main highlight of that expansion, and I felt it unfair to you know, not check it out and not see, you know, what they've done. So I really did enjoy the questing in Cataclysm. The end game I felt was I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Wrath of the Lich King. I think it's the way they introduced it, the way they made it a little bit easier to acquire stuff. Which, you know, easy is good. You know, I'm not saying that it was an issue that they did all this, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that they went the direction they did, and they're deciding to put it in. The looking for raid system is interesting. It gives people the chance to see, you know, I mean, of course, this is old news, but just some of the stuff in Cataclysm. It was definitely my, not to, you know, knock on anything, but it definitely was my least favorite of the expansion. But it also had highlight points in it. I really did enjoy leveling. The only thing that I wasn't too crazy about leveling was the fact that you didn't get to explore anything. If you think about it, Cataclysm basically was the island in Stormwind, or at least for me, this is the way I took it. Cataclysm seemed like it was basically the island in Stormwind with all the portals, or that platform in Orgrimmar with all the portals, because you log in for the first time, you get a quest to go talk to this guy, and then you get a quest to, you know, go to the dock for Bashir, or to take a teleportal to Hyjal. And you really never left that area. You know, I mean, you did, but it didn't seem like it. It's like, okay, I'm done with this zone now. All right, let me hurry back to the cities, all my crap. Yeah, oh, look, another portal open, or another quest open. And it was in the old world content, and they completely spread it out, so it wasn't like you were jumping from zone to zone. Yeah, I mean, the zones were awesome. You know, they did a lot of detail, and, you know, kudos to them for doing all that. But it just seems like to me, it just felt like I was just stuck in this circle, and I was jumping from portal to portal, almost like levels in an old school Game Boy game. You know, I really wasn't getting that new continent, and I know Blizzard can't just keep throwing new continents in and saying, oh, hey, look, an island popped out of nowhere from the middle of the sea. I mean, you know, I'm not huge on the lore. I know a lot of people are. But so I know, you know, they can run into some conflict with that, but I am looking forward to the fact that, you know, we've got a whole new island to explore. You know, we're separated.
And it is something that we can go zone to zone to zone like we did in the old world content.
Right.
We weren't kind of just regulated through portals saying, okay, well, hey guys, here's your kernel quest, here's your portal. All right, now take your quest, go through your little mini screen, maybe mini video, watch that. Have fun with it, and there you are in your new zone. Have fun.
Right.
It's going to be a little bit more exploring, running around, kind of like we saw in Vanilla and in BC. I mean, even in Wrath, it was all kind of tied together, and they decided to kind of go in a different direction during Cataclysm.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a bad direction, but it definitely was different, and might have not have taken away, but it took away from the feeling like, hey, I finished the zone, and I finished all the quests that I could here. It's not, I'm restricted at a certain level. I'm not restricted anymore.
Right.
So I can go ahead and continue to finish all these quests out of here, and then move on to my next zone.
Exactly. Oh, excuse me, hit my mic. So, I think we're done with we're done with this place.
Yep.
I'll be interested to see when they actually update the models for the certain gear. I'm not sure what the level 90 gear looks like, but
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what they do with it as far as if they're going to actually bring it into the game or bring it into the public test realms, or if they're going to wait. I can't imagine they're going to wait until game launch before
introducing the new.
Right. That's actually really, really cool. I just noticed whenever you leave a party now, like I left the instance group, since we had a party beforehand, you're actually still in my group, but you got a little bubble beside your name that says player cannot see party or raid chat because they're currently in an instance with another group, but I can still whisper you, which was nice because
Really?
I can't tell you how many times I've actually been, you get a group together, people, and you have to leave the group to be able to re-queue for an instance, or to not be saved to that one, you're going to do a random one again, and you have to re-invite them. So that actually is just a nice little quirk they threw in there, just to be able to see. There's just the small things. The small things is what I enjoy about Blizzard, and just the fact that
because they're kind of seeing the flaws, and they're kind of hammering them out, making sure that everything's going to be straight in the game.
Right, not necessarily that
not
necessarily that they're flaws, just the fact that hey, some things we've got our players that might not enjoy this so much. So what can we do to make this more enjoyable for you? Because
have you noticed when you go to leave the instance group that you're in, what it actually says? It no longer says leave group; it just says leave instance group.
Yes, yeah, and that actually, so you could have a group of I can imagine you could have a group of possibly 4 people still stay in the same group and be able to back out and be in the same group, which is really nice.
Yep. And that is really nice, because now we'll no longer have to deal with that. Okay, we have a 5-man group going, and we're just queuing for randoms because it gives us the most Valor points, we'll say, or the most Joseph points. However you decide to farm. You no longer have to leave the group or re-queue if you only have 4. This is probably more happen on a basis of 4 or less, because if you had 5, you could just re-queue, but you no longer have to leave the group just because of one person. You can leave your instance group and then come right back in as your actual party. All you have to do is re-queue one time instead of inviting 3 other people again.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, I'm running around here. I get these quests sitting here picking up arrows, which Blizzard seems to enjoy poop quests and arrow quests.
They really do like arrow quests. You saw them in Cataclysm. You saw them in Wrath.
Death Knight Starting Zone is where I first witnessed it.
Yep.
Picked up 12 arrows. And then, I'm surprised I run into a
Hyjal, there's a quest to pick up arrows.
Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't run into a poop quest yet. Blizzard seems to be pretty keen on their collecting poop, so I'll be interested to see when I actually run into one of those. It can't be too far away. I mean,
it really can. It's got to be up here somewhere.
So I'm sure there's a Nessingwari Safari quest somewhere around here that has me do it, or something or the other. So if you had your best guess, what would you say we're looking at for a possible release date?
Possible release date, I want to say with all enthusiasm out there, it's coming out November, because that's when I feel like it's ready. I want it to be ready then. Realistically, however, I am thinking maybe late November, September area right now. That's kind of where I'm at.
Really?
Just because we have seen a lot of recent updates to the beta. We have seen a lot of news come out as far as the game goes. Videos are being released. Box art has been leaked. Whether it's been released publicly or not, I believe since Blizzard now has it on Battle.net, it is now official. That is what our box art's looking like. So it is now official. But I don't know 100% if that means that they are coming out in a couple months. I believe within the next month, I'm really hoping that we're having a release date.
Right.
And I'm sure they will, especially with all the new news coming out, their video coming out. I'm pretty sure we're looking really close to a release date. But as far as projected release date goes right now, I'm shooting for mid-November to early September.
Yeah, I don't think we'll hear anything until the actual cinematic has been out and set. that's one thing I'm actually looking forward to. I love the team behind that does all the cinematic